Thank you so much. I have a request with all of us because I really, from deep of my heart, I respect each of you. You are too good, but I also request you to please maintain the timing. Now, I would like to invite on stage Dr. Sunita Purushottam. She is the Chief Sustainability Officer from Mahindra Lifespace Ltd. She will be talking on sustainable urbanization. About Dr. Sunita Purushottam, IGVC Fellow of Royal Met Society London, Certified GHG Emissions Qualifier, CSA America, Certified GRI Professional, CII Assessor, Member of the Mahindra and Mahindra CSR Council, Chairman of Board, Global Building and Performance Network France. Dr. Purushottam has over 25 years of sustainability strategy and environmental consultancy experience in the area of environmental impact assessment, air pollution modeling and meteorology, GHG emissions, inventory and carbon offsets, carbon neutrality strategy, waste management strategy, and water risk technology solutions for sustainability and CSR. She is a physics postgraduate with PhD in environmental science and engineering from IIT Mumbai. Now listen to more. She has worked with regulatory bodies in UK and India in various infrastructure development projects, city planning and construction projects covering environmental impacts and mitigation. She is well versed with various reporting disclosure frameworks such as SASB, GRIs, I can't read it so much, so it's wonderful. CDP and GRESB and integrated reporting. And couple of things more. She has helped large companies globally to streamline their sustainability strategy through a systematic process-oriented approach and enabled the selection of right tools for systematic sustainability disclosure management. She is well versed with the use of technology in sustainability management and has been associated with a startup for creation of platform on sustainability and data management. So all over to you, ma'am.
It shows the kind of, all over the place CV. But yeah, trying to make some sense out of it. Thank you so much, Milind. It's a great platform. I am the kind of audience, so it's academics, government, and private sector. So the topic, I don't know. Yeah. So the topic is sustainable urbanization, and I can make it interactive so that I don't make you get up again. Because so we can and it's in context of green building, green company and sustainable city, and you take it from the lens of sustainable city first. We all live in cities. How many of you are from village backgrounds? Anybody come from the village? Village, yeah. And we have come to Bombay, and we want to make Bombay sustainable. And how does a city become sustainable? So we want all companies operating in the city to be sustainable, and then the buildings that we live in. But it can't happen until individuals adopt it as a way of life. And the first step of these megapolis is actually look at reverse migration. Of course, that's not the current topic. But I believe a lot of the CSR work that we do, we look at livelihoods and see that can people be sustainable in livelihoods in wherever they are staying, and hence they will not migrate. And that's something that nobody is talking about. The other thing that people are not talking about is population. And these two are the elephants in the room. Nobody wants to talk about it. But I have this habit of bringing up topics. It is not today's topic, but we'll talk about sustainable urbanization. And the first thing that we should think of is Goal 11 of Sustainable Cities and Communities. The idea is to make cities and human settlements inclusive, safe, resilient and sustainable. And this goal has several sub-goals, and it is linked to several targets, and it's linked to the other goals. Sustainable energy, there's goal number 30, goal number 7, goal number 6, goal number 13, which is climate. Then there is goal number 15, life on land, and so on. So it's all linked to the various SDG goals. So it is not, something that, will it move? I don't know. So yes. You can put it here. I can move it then. Huh? Okay. So and look at the state of the large cities. In fact, from Bombay to Pune, this will be the megapolis of the future, and you will see the development that is happening on the ghats and on the hills. And if you ever have read the Kasturi Rangan report on biodiversity of the Western Ghats, you'll be actually shocked, because that development and the planning that should have happened for the expressway, perhaps for biodiversity, the mitigation measures have not happened. And while we are all enjoying Atal Setu and the development and the missing link, and you may think I'm anti-development, but look at what is happening. It is basically, we are connecting it, its timings are becoming very short for travel, and I benefit from it because I stay in Pune and I often come to Bombay. And 70% of India's GDP are from our cities, and over 70 cities in India with million plus inhabitants by 2030. So we are seeing a lot of migration happening. It contributes to over 25% of India's GHG emissions. By 2030, we are, it explodes, our cities are exploding. And of course, authorities will find it difficult. And there is something that Revati mentioned, that people don't have ownership. Why will people have ownership with a city? Because do they belong to the city, or are they saying it and they are getting the economic benefit out of it? And and cities, for the real estate sector, it is $1 trillion. I mean, it's a huge thing, and the real estate is really booming. And it's the largest construction sector market, 1 trillion in size by 2030, more homes. But I really want to find out how many people have first home, second home, third homes. What is the inequity around it? Is it their only home? And why are they buying so many homes? Where's the regulation around it? And so on. So questioning things that should not be spoken about, that's what I do. So centrality of climate risk, and somebody spoke about, are the buildings resilient? They are not. And are the water bodies disappearing? They are, because of the construction. Is anybody talking about it? People don't know, because it's science, and there is something around hydrology, how water flows. So there is a huge thing happening around the water stress, floods, systemic flooding, urban heat, sea level rise, and all of this, Bombay is going to be deeply, deeply impacted. आप घर बांध लो, basement में पानी रोकते रोकते आप थक जाओगे. So it is a huge challenge, and a low carbon scenario is looking at consumer preference, policy, a little bit of technology. We look at how the supply chain for things are going to get disrupted. What is the cost associated with carbon? Carbon taxation is going to come into the picture, and rising energy costs. So there is a need for balancing decarbonization and resilience, and it is jargon, but it's linked to economy. I press hard on people on the sustainable agenda. But believe me, it is tough. It is not easy, because I work with business, right? And it is important to change the language. So we are the only real estate company to have ever published a sustainability report way back in 2011-12. Nobody was even talking about it. We're part of Mahindra Group. Mahindra Group started reporting. They started pushing us. So RCUES said, yes, we should. It gives us a good base for starting the work, right? Indicators, kya report karna hai, and so on and so forth. And we have we committed to 100% green portfolio way back in 2014. And why did we do it? We thought that, yes, the sector has impacts and mitigation needs to happen. I think the key nudgers were basically the value system of the Mahindra Group, so to speak. And with that, with the green portfolio, these are some of the impacts which we have quantified, and now we are moving towards carbon neutrality. So the green building benefits, I'm talking about a little bit, it's customers, developers, plus environment. It will help us develop climate resilient developments, okay? And of course for consumers, and what consumers don't know is that it gives them, it doesn't give benefit to the developer, it gives customer the benefit. And hence there is a need for banks to now provide loans with a differentiated rate, so that green homes then become a norm, and that only then market transformation will happen. All the incentives that Mala Singh spoke about should not actually be accrued to the developer, it has to accrue to the consumer. The consumer benefit, GST rebate, hence the market transformation will happen, and that's one thing that I strongly push. For developer, it is more about what kind of product you are making. It starts from site selection, water efficiency, Panch Mahabhut, Mala Singh spoke about, consume less water, energy optimization, conserve natural resources, generate less waste, and provide healthier spaces, and that's critical. And these are some of the site selection and planning related. And in site selection, urban heat, and what we have done about the site selection is also the climate risk. What is going to happen to the flow of water? Is there a water body? What is the groundwater table? Has there been a flooding risk? Is there a climate change coastal flooding risk? All of this is done apart from the biodiversity study, and that is not currently in the green building rating mechanism. So that's additional, because we have actually suffered when we had not done hydrogeological studies, because basement leakages mean that the customers will tell us that basement leakage is happening, and we have to do it. We can't move out of a project without looking at what is bothering, and handovers become very difficult. And when a developer has to move out of a project, we have to ensure that everything is done and dusted. Okay, so that we had to do. Okay, and so this is what I was talking about, hydrology and hydrogeology. This is from a Bombay project, and it is from Kalyan. And there is another competitor right beside us, and it's a Tata project, and continuous flooding. So we saw the pictures, we saw what was on the social media. We traced the study of flooding over there, and then we said, no, we are going to raise the site. And we are going to ensure that even if water comes into a site, it drains away. Okay, so we made a gabion wall. We did not concretize it. And gabion wall is something which is costlier. It requires time. We raised the site, and so we did all that work. And we do hydrogeology now. It goes without fail. One of the things that municipalities can look at, especially on the groundwater table, is to look at hydrology of sites, water flow of sites, and wells, and water flow patterns, and then give sanction for all developments. It is because municipal authorities actually are the ones who are looking at the building code, right? So, and hence, if you develop, it will be your problem. So, for example, if LBS Mark gets flooded today, you will see that because of all the development on water bodies that has happened, right? So where are the water channels? So it is important to do that. The other thing is that biodiversity, again, this is something that is addressed at a very high level in the core, in the rating system. We need to have deeper resolutions around it. And so we adopted a resolution. We said, okay, let's look at the landscape plan. So some of the landscapes that landscape architects provide have non-native species. So they have palm, and they have, I hate these species because they don't add anything to the biodiversity. So it is, what is it called? It is palm, then there is champa. Champa is an Indian yay, but you don't have too many of champas. It's crazy to have the amount of champas that you have all over the country and make every city look like a champa garden. Because that's how the landscape is designed. So you have palms and variety of palms. And then there is another one which is Terminalia, and I hate it from the bottom of my heart. Terminalia is an airport. You go to the airport and you'll see palm and Terminalia. So they look, they look as if the structure, I mean, even nature is curated by man, looks good and has no value. So should we be doing it? No, we should not be doing it, and hence as many native species as possible. Wherever there is plantation opportunity, native, and that's because they're low maintenance and they will bring the biodiversity in, they'll preserve the soil, they'll go deep in, they will preserve water pollution also. And look at the Tree Act, look at how we protect and retain species, and it is very difficult for construction companies to actually preserve plants. How many of you are civil engineers here? So, आपके civil engineering course में ट्री कंजर्वेशन के बारे में कुछ बताया जाता है क्या? नहीं ना. तो साइट सिलेक्शन, पहला चीज होता है साइट क्लियरिंग. व्हाट इज इट सेड? साइट क्लियरिंग एंड लॉजिस्टिक प्लानिंग. उसमें पेड़ होते ही नहीं है क्योंकि आपको फर्स्ट क्लियरिंग करना होता है. So my intervention, and Milind, we can intervene in the academic circles, that civil engineering can't be ruthless. So we need to bring in the nature element into civil engineering, because civil engineering is the basic for environmental engineering, I would say. So because you are building the infrastructure, and when I deal with the construction managers, what I do is I talk to them here. यहाँ मैं बात नहीं करती हूँ. मैं इधर जब बात करती हूँ वो उनके दिल में बैठ जाता है, और जब वो दिल में बैठ जाता है वो अपने बॉस को, चीफ प्रोजेक्ट ऑफिसर को बोलते कि नहीं मैडम बोल के गई ये पेड़ को बचाना है, तो वो करते हैं. तो माय recommendation to all of you is, we have had enough mind conversations and awareness conversations. Have conversations here, and that's what we do, because otherwise कुछ होने नहीं वाला है. And of course, there's a lot that can be done on design. How many of you are architects here? Well, there's a lot that can be done on design, and if and there's a problem with what the fire norms are saying versus what environmental things are saying. And fire wale NOC नहीं देते, but environmental wale को कौन सुनता है? Okay, so you will then have increased concretization, and that is one thing that I want to resolve. I don't know how to do it, but it seems that fire is more important than environment, even when the whole city is burning in heat, right? So when we try and do permeable, नहीं structural problem है, नहीं उसमें से fire truck नहीं जा पाएगा. कभी हमने fire truck वाले को पूछा क्या तो permeable paver block के ऊपर से आप जा सकते हो नहीं जा सकते? So there are many assumptions that we are making, right? And we are doing PCC, RCC, whatever you call it, and so on. And you say नहीं यहाँ से fire truck जाना है, और fire truck movement के लिए ऐसा space होना चाहिए और वैसा space होना चाहिए, फिर हम NOC देंगे. But environment की कौन देखता है, right? So people know that environmental or whatever commencement certificate or OC that is required, there's no rigor, because that rigor and sharpness will come only when you guys develop an eye. That that I will give you an OC only if all the things that you have said on the green building is deployed in the project, right? And the other thing is coming about on the solar reflective roof and paints, and it appears to be a solution, but we don't know because it's still something under research. But what is well known is that the roof of cities, either green or solar reflective, need to be harnessed for solar power as well as reducing the urban heat. That is definitely there. A lot comes on site selection and planning, and how do we look at the various biodiversity aspect and how it benefits the consumer. And I have often been told that Sunita, पेड़ कहीं और लगा देंगे हम, and you will end up cutting a 100-year-old tree or a 50-year-old tree, and there is something around heritage trees, and then there is something around transplantation of trees. And if you go and do that, and if you are providing permissions, and somehow I feel that sites that have abundant trees and old trees should be regulated deeply, and should have a special regulation such that those trees are maintained, because that is the only solution. Because tree 1:10 करो, 1:50 करो, जाके village में लगाओ, फर्क नहीं पड़ने वाला है. बॉम्बे आज के दिन में गर्म हो रहा है. It is getting 40 and above temperatures, and with humidity it is deadly for its citizens. It is deadly because you are together with heat and humidity and nighttime temperatures. So when heat, we are talking about nighttime temperatures, and then you will have air conditioning. Now you see the circle, how it is coming, and now there is a glass and concrete nexus, and I often call glass as tobacco. I've told St. Gobain, because we work very closely with St. Gobain, I've told them ki use with care. Addiction nahi chahiye. So we are addicted to concrete and glass at this point of time. It is not giving us the thermal comfort. We don't have solution, and this transformation of the built environment has happened recently, because we were still using AAC blocks till 2018. The first My One building that we built in Mahindra Lifespace was in 2018. Before that it was low rise. So the high-rise addiction, the concrete addiction, the amount of concrete or man-made materials that we are heaping on to our earth cannot sustain this. It is not possible for Earth. So humans, if you take the weight of humans, we are only this much. And the man-made materials, it is huge. I mean, the amount of man-made materials that we have made, the amount of biodiversity, dwarfs in terms of weight. So if there are some data points. So we can do peanuts. These are all peanuts, by the way. So, and say, okay, we have done something. But will we be able to stop the runaway climate change? No. But yeah, to a certain extent, reduces the annual maintenance cost perhaps for the consumers. Aerators are a must. Aerators is a very, very low-tech kind of a solution. And I'm surprised that we can't buy a aerator on a hardware store. I've done this kind of, and therefore the uptake is very, very poor. So people feel वहाँ पे प्लास्टिक का जो होता है ना नल में वो aerator है, वो aerator नहीं, आप measure करो, take a 1 liter bottle and take a timer and look at your flow rate. Milind ji, please share कीजिए मेरा presentation. You don't have to take pictures. And all of this is public information. Read our reports, you will understand our philosophy. So we are looking at reduction of costs, and that's what is in it for the consumers, and that needs to be communicated. So I've been a big fan of climate responsive design. Climate responsive design is nothing but building physics, and I believe, though I'm not an architect, I understand building physics very, very well, because ultimately it's amount of heat that is coming in, all the parameters that Malaji was talking about in terms of glass. What is the degree discomfort hours within your home? What is the degree discomfort hours within an office? Has to be computed for every new building, right? How do you compute it? You basically understand number of days in a particular year, number of hours in a particular year that you will be uncomfortable because of the temperature. So temperature and the humidity and the location. So you can do that through energy simulation studies, how much solar heat gain is coming into your building and so on. So it's a science, it's building physics, but some measures are very, 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 very simple. So one is look at what is your wall assembly. Is it giving you a particular U value? Basically, is it able to block your heat? Simply put, building physics छोड़ दीजिए. Simply put, mud bungalows will be cooler than concrete any day. Everybody has experienced this. Window छोटे होने चाहिए. It goes without saying, and hence there are so many bad buildings. You are pointing out, right? Glass is not the right material for India, and you are cooling the glass building with air conditioning. Are you crazy? Okay, और हम इस रूम में बैठ के उसको एक्सपीरियंस कर रहे हैं, आंखें ड्राई हो जाती है, पानी नहीं पीते हम लोग, various health ailments होते हैं, and we feel that this is good life, and that is 5-star, but actually we have cut off from nature, right? So haven't we, right? So is this the right approach? No, this is not the right approach. So you need the ventilation, whether in a commercial building, whether in a residential building. आपको जो भी है बाहर खराब अच्छा आपको पर्यावरण के साथ एक कनेक्ट होना चाहिए, and that means openable windows, that means whatever buildings have to be flushed out, building designs have to be for ventilation. She's giving me. So we're talking about energy efficiency, again data points around saving, a lot of it around chhajja and how you orient buildings. This is about our green supply chain management policy. How do you source, buildings? Mala Singh spoke about. I'll take two more minutes. And I spoke about waste segregation. So guidelines बनाना बहुत ज़रूरी है. Vendors के साथ बात करना बहुत ज़रूरी है. And unsegregated waste must not be picked. And if authorities are strong about it and say that we're not going to do it, we're not going to do it. Citizens will do it, right? We did it, we tried, and citizens will turn around, the other thing is around indoor air quality. Homes in Bombay are not even getting this minimum ventilation requirement. Cross ventilation हो नहीं रहा है. आप building जो plans होते हैं उसको अगर आप देखोगे वहाँ पे cross ventilation नहीं होता है. Okay, and that impacts your health significantly. So the easiest among all of this is the awareness around paints and what kind of paints that you should be doing. So these are summary of some of the customer benefits. What we said was that we will move toward net zero. Net zero is a journey, and we said we will do net zero buildings by 2030. We have already done India's first high-rise net zero energy residential building in Bangalore. If ever you go to Bangalore, I'm happy to facilitate a visit over there. We have done India's second net zero energy and waste, India's first net zero waste certified, IGBC certified design building in Bombay. So it's in Kandivali. And the third one in Bangalore, back again, net zero energy and waste. It is not easy because, these are the projects. First 3 net zero homes, high-rise residential. Very difficult, but possible. So there are challenges. I'm not saying you can debate true net zero, ye, wo, and all of that. So these are some of the benefits, some of the certificates. These are our thought leadership partnerships. We have launched a platform called the Decarbonization Business Charter, where every stakeholder in the real estate can actually join and join hands to, commit to priority actions on decarbonization, contribute, share ideas, refer more people, and so on. The Mahindra Terry Center of Excellence is a must visit for people. Here we do material testing, and glass and walling assemblies, roof assemblies are tested over there for thermal comfort. Okay, so anybody knows this person? I'll give a hint. He's a physicist. And his name is Johan Rockström. The planetary boundary layer studies come from this institute, the Stockholm Resilience Institute. Mala Singh referred, and there are other people who referred, that 7 out of the 9 planetary boundaries are violated. This guy was the initiator of the planetary boundary studies, and he moves around with that marble in his pocket, which signifies Earth. Itna hi hai bhai. So I'll stop here.
Thank you, ma'am. It was amazing, and we really learned a lot on how to conserve energy and what are the benefits. Now I would request Dr. Milind Kulkarni to kindly felicitate Dr. Sunita.